Hey guys, it's Aadi Academy back with another video. This is for AP Statistics Chapter 2. Unfortunately, my screen recording app was not working, so I will be recording using my phone instead. But hopefully, you're still able to get some understanding of the material through this video. Okay, so the question is, a certain density curve looks like the inverted letter V. The first segment goes from the point 0 to 0.6 to the point 0.5 to 1.4, and the second segment goes from 0.5, 1.4 to 1, 0.6. So part A is to sketch the curve. So in order to do this, it says that we need to verify the area under the curve is 1 so that it's a valid density curve. Okay, so to sketch the curve, I believe it's fairly self-explanatory. Over here we see 0, 0.6. Over here we see the middle point, or the median, and then over here we see the last point. So all we have to really do is make an XY graph, and then we have to plot each of the points, and then the curve will just be the area underneath it, right? Because it's a density curve. So to sketch it, we just need to plot these points, connect them all, and then color in the area below. Apologies for those of you that have pet peeves with me touching the computer screen. Okay. And then part 2 of this question is verifying that the area under the curve is 1, and the area under a density curve, any density curve, is always going to be 1, meaning that, as it says in this note over here, 100% of the data is under the curve, or the shaded area under the curve rather. Okay, so part B, determine the median. Mark the median and the approximate locations of quartiles 1 and quartile 3 on your sketch, right? So as we previously said, this point is the median, 0.5, 1.4. Now, the reason this is the median is because the median is the middle point out of the data, right? And so the middle of this data is at this very point right here. And so we know that the median is 0.5. And then in terms of other points, right, we can also calculate, because we're going to need these values later anyway. So the standard deviation is 0.3. And the points are also listed here. So you can see 0, 0.5, and 1, right, the x values. And then so in order to find quartile 1 and quartile 3, all we need to do is find the medians of the two halves. So what this means is that there's the actual median and then the two endpoints, right? So the medians of the two halves, meaning the middle of each of these two halves, the area between these 2 points, right? And so for quartile 1, we do this plus this divided by 2, because here's the end and the middle, and then divided by 2 will find us the middle kind of that first half, which is 0.25, so that's quartile 1. And if we do the same thing for the second half, it's 0.5 plus 1 divided by 2, which equals 0.75, so quartile 3 is 0.75. Okay, let's go on to part C of the question, right? So same question, as you can see. Part C says, what percent of the observations lie below 0.3? And so for this, you're going to need a calculator, ideally a TI-84 or a TI-84 plus CE. You know, we love those on Aadi Academy, right? And so you're going to go into your calculator, hit second vars, and then go into normal CDF, right? And so it's going to give you 4 areas, 4 kind of areas to put in numbers with commas between them. So the first area is for the lower, the second area is for the upper, the third is for the mean, and the fourth is for the standard deviation. So you're always going to want to keep the lower at -1 E99, or -1 times 10 to the power of 99, because that's basically negative infinity, or the closest we can get to it. The upper is going to be at 0.3 because we're trying to calculate what lies below 0.3. As we know, the mean is 0.5 from before, right? And finally, and it's 0.5 because remember the first point was 0 and the second point was 1. So if we add those two and then divide by 2, it's 0.5. And finally, the standard deviation, as we previously calculated, if we go back to the last page, the standard deviation is 0.3 from our calculator, right? And so when we plug all 4 of these numbers into normal CDF in that order, we get 0.2525, and then we have to multiply that by 100. So we know that 25.25% is below 0.3. So now you can look at some of the speaker notes. The lower, as we said, we already justified this. Normal CDF, we already justified this, and normal CDF for percentages, obviously, right? And then so finally for part D of this question, what percent of the observations lie between 0.3 and 0.7? Well, as you can see, hold on, let me get rid of this so you guys can view the speaker points as well. As we can see, the lower is going to be 0.3 this time because that's going to be the lower limit between what we're looking for, and the upper limit is going to be 0.7 because we're trying to find the observations between the two, right? And so, as you can see, it also says that right here. And so all you really need to do is use those two numbers and use normal CDF once again in the same way we did before. So use the mean, which is 0.5, and the standard deviation plus the two upper and lower limits, right? And you're going to get 49.50% of the data is between those two numbers, right? And so make sure to multiply the answer in your calculator, by the way, by 100 like we previously stated, because once again, we're looking for percentages and not proportions. Thanks so much, guys. Aadi Academy out.